this computer. All right. I'm asking my computer to do a lot today. Stream, live, record.
Zoom, record the Zoom.
Exactly. Oh. All right. Well, let's just go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to the call. Before we begin, just want to do a few, yes, finally, take two. Before we begin, yeah, actually, I do have a clapboard over there, but I have to crawl over some stuff because we're renovating the office. Before we begin, I just want to have a few housekeeping items. One of them is to turn my cell phone off. And the other is to ask everybody to stay muted unless they're talking at the end of the call during the Q&A. Keep the background stuff down. As I said earlier, this call is being recorded and it will be posted along with the high def version of the Sizzle Reel to stingrayseries.com. And I'm also simulcasting to my Facebook author page at author Gary Zeiger. And well, I was doing it on my YouTube channel, but for some reason I can't connect to that, so we're not doing that one. And if you're viewing this on
one day, it might live there one day.
It might. Oh, it'll live there one day, but right now it's not going live. Right. If you are on the Facebook Live page and you'd like to participate and interact with us, as you can see, we have a nice banter going. Please head over to stingrayseries.com and click the Join the Zoom Meeting button. So let's get started. I'm Gary Zeiger, and I'm a rideaholic. Oh, wait, that's the wrong meeting. Sorry. I am the author of 2 sci-fi novels. This is the first one, is Stingray, You Can't Hide Forever. It came out about 6 months after the birth of my granddaughter, so I was really excited when she surprised me and showed up at the launch party. And the second, my second novel is Stingray Prophecy, and we recently just completed the audiobook version of this. And before I play an excerpt of it, I would like to introduce you to the man who voiced 60-ish characters in the first novel, and I believe 62 voices in the second novel.
I think it was 62.
More than that in the third novel, Tom.
Oh, no.
Mr. Tom Antonellis, the voice of Stingray. Tom, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? Rob Asher, by the way, is signed in on Facebook Live. Hi, Rob. Yeah, 60 voices approximately in the first one. By the way, I have the original cover version, autographed by Gary. Thank you for that, Gary. First edition's worth more now.
It is.
Because it's out of print this way. And the original version of Prophecy, original cover anyway. And I think you wrote 62 characters in the second one just to make sure I beat my record, right? Yeah. So it's quite a thing to, first of all, I love the books. And first of all, thank you, Gary, for the opportunity to be the voice and, you know, speaking on behalf of myself, my agent, Julia Erzik at the Library Agency. We're very, very happy to be working with you. And I love everything Stingray. And I'm very honored to be the voice of the audiobooks and very excited to do Volume 3 whenever that's ready to go. This is the microphone I did them on. Actually, this is the microphone. Original microphone we recorded them on.
Is that a Yeti?
Now, Stingray 3 will be on the upgraded version.
Oh.
Yeah. I can't bring myself to get rid of this guy. First of all, the stand would probably still work in case anything ever happened to the other stand, but this one has seen better days and no longer records. But they were all recorded in this room, Thick Skin Creations, my studio and office. And I can't wait to get into volume 3.
All right. So Tom is actually a voiceover actor as well as an actor out in Hollywood. And I was lucky, very lucky to run into him and actually him have an interest in doing this project. So thank you, Tom.
Trust me, it was me that was lucky. It
So,
was Facebook too that I saw your casting call was on Facebook. Thank goodness for Facebook, man.
yeah, that was kind of an interesting way to do it. I thought I'd try it that way and see what happened before I went other routes. And we can talk later about some of the voices that auditions I had received.
Oh, that would be interesting to know.
um,
It's not often that an actor actually knows, ends up learning who they were up against or how many. I did an audition post yesterday. In fact, auditioning is really something we can never talk about. It's very rare if you have the permission to say that you're in an auditioning process. But yeah, it's always gratifying for all the actors out there, or audiobook narrators out there. It is definitely gratifying to hear when stories of, who you beat out, how many people you beat out to get the part. And to think, like, I can't picture not doing these voices. It's just like when I read the book, I was like, oh my God, or the sample, even just the sample. I was like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this one. So I'm really glad I got it.
Cool. Me too.
Julia told a story about somebody she was interviewing to represent, and telling a story about me booking your book. And she said, yeah, I did 60 voices on it. And the person said, wow, 16, that's amazing. She's like, no, 60, 60.
Well, cool.
That made me feel good.
Yes. All right, so let's take a listen to the excerpt from...
Hi, Stefano. Stefano just joined.
Oh, hey, Steph. Let me share this. Okay, so I'm going to play the excerpt, about 6 minutes, from Prophecy. Just to set the scene, it's part of the scene. The crew is on the bridge of Stingray.
Oh, good Lord, Epps exclaimed. What have you done? Oh, don't worry, Captain, Max replied. We'll get all of this put back together again. Plus, we found a cool new feature we just finished hooking up, Crash said excitedly. Captain, bring us to combat mode and you'll see. Okay, I'm game, Epps said. Combat. Jess had relinquished the command chair when Epps arrived and had taken her combat station. Combat, aye, Jess exclaimed, hitting a button on the console. As normal, the lights on the bridge switched from normal white to combat red. The shields came up to 100%, and the klaxon sounded for a second before Jess silenced it. But then, the deck and the walls and the ceiling all disappeared, leaving the impression they were floating in space. Epps, though, realized that he was still solidly anchored to the floor. At first it was disconcerting, but after a few seconds, he acclimated. He gazed around. He had a 360-degree view in all planes. The only things obscuring his view were the consoles and the people sitting at them. The controls on the consoles were visible and usable, but then they weren't visible, as he could see right through them, and then they were there again. Somehow the view was being manipulated based on what he was focusing his eyes on. Look at the console, it is there. Look beyond the console, and it disappeared, and you see space. Brilliant! What a huge tactical advantage. Reticles, or square boxes, enclosed asteroids all around Stingray. Wow, was all Epps could say. Those numbers next to the reticles, they note range, direction, speed, and power needed to destroy the target, Jess said. I assume that you would like to destroy the inbound threats, Captain? Epps looked at Max, who had a huge grin on his face. Absolutely, Commander. Epps said, turning back to face front. Fire. Firing. Aye, Captain. Jess hit the fire button. Round irises simultaneously opened on the top and bottom of Stingray's nose, and a ball with many protruding spikes poked out of each. Epps could hear the wave drive power plant spool up, diverting its energy to the weapon system instead of the drive system. Multiple pencil-thin purple beams of light simultaneously leapt out of these balls in all different directions. The balls would twist and turn so each beam would hit its intended target, and only its target, causing massive explosions all around Stingray. As fast as it started, it was over. At that moment, the door to the bridge opened and Taz burst through. She quickly became disoriented, thinking she was about to plunge to her death in outer space, let out a slight screech, tripped, and fell flat on her face on the floor. As smart as Taz was, her IQ was off the charts by an order of magnitude. She had a comical lack of common sense. For example, she never grasped that one does not plunge in outer space, as there is no gravity, black holes excepted, of course. Right on Taz's heels was Tobias Bear Dickey. He was a tall, bald, and solidly built black man. He wore his usual black vest that didn't quite close in the front and black pants. Bear, too, ended up flat on his face, but not from the spatial anomaly. As a seasoned combat mercenary, that didn't bother him at all. What bothered him, and the cause of his awkward tumble, was as simple as tripping over Taz, who was still sprawled on the floor. However, as fast as he fell, he was just as quickly back on his feet and helping the good doctor to hers, profusely apologizing to her. Wow, was all Bear could say, too. Not funny, Taz yelled, embarrassed. Secure from combat, Epps commanded, and the bridge returned to normal. Much better, Taz said. Not meant to be funny, Doc, Epps replied. It's a new toy your brother and Max discovered. Neat, huh? It gives us a big advantage during a firefight. Whatever, boys and their toys. Taz noticed the huge jumbled mess of dangling wires. Her face turned crimson. I trust this, she waved at the wires, will not hamper us heading for Rios in the next couple of hours, so I can make it to the medical conference on time. This was a firm statement, rather than a question. This demonstration created an awkward silence on the bridge. Well, Crash started, I'm speaking at this conference. It will take us more than a couple of hours to fix this. And, we can't fly with all this mess like this. Besides, Tamsin, it's dangerous for you to be... You bastard! Taz cut him off. You did this on purpose. No, I... But Taz had turned and stormed off the bridge. Everyone focused on Crash and Max as Max tried to slink into the console. Well, that was fun, Epps said, disappointment clear in his voice. Smythe, you have the con. Max and Crash fix this and fix it fast. Understood? Aye, sir, Crash and Max said in unison, somewhat dejected. They'd let their captain down. Bear, render whatever help they need, Epps said. Aye, sir, Bear replied. I'll be in sick bay, trying to smooth this over.
Cool. So,
Yay!
yay. So that was an exclusive excerpt. The actual sample that's out there is different. I picked something that was a little bit funny and showed off some of Tom's talents.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Cristen has joined us. Yay!
From a car because I couldn't get home in time.
Wow. Great to see you.
Good to see you. How's everybody doing?
Did you catch the end of the audiobook sample?
I did, yes.
Yes, that's Stingray Prophecy, Volume 2.
Yes. That means that Volume 1 was so great that you did a Volume 2. All
That's
right.
right. That's right.
I like that. I love it.
All right. Well, I hope that everybody found that as exciting as I did. Every time I hear it, it's like listening to it for the first time. So I know, Tom, we touched on a little bit earlier about the 60 voices. Do you have any additional comments about performing that many voices and what you had to do, that many characters, and what you had to do for it?
Sure. There are a couple of interesting little techniques and stories. First of all, Captain Epsilon is down here, and it's a voice I just absolutely love to do. And whenever I do, if I do a line like fire, torpedoes, fire, whatever order he's issuing, I I usually have to clear my voice in order to go, like clear my throat in order to go back to a narrator voice. So it's always a switch down to here. Then it's a clear, and then I can talk again. And then I don't subject you to any of the throat clears, but if a couple of, I usually cut them out. But if a couple of them got through there, I'm sorry if you had to cut them out. But that's the only way I can transition. A couple of the other ones, like it's dangerous for Max and Eps can dangerously sound a little bit like each other if I don't make sure to differentiate them. So sometimes it's helpful to establish a catchphrase for your character. A lot of voice actors file their characters by a catchphrase. So, for example, Bart Simpson is Cowabunga Dude, and Yabba Dabba Doo for Fred Flintstone. So for Max, who's basically in the first book described as a fusion between Kramer from Seinfeld and Doc from Back to the Future. I believe that's the actual references that you make in the book. And of course, because this takes place in the future of Earth, it's like referring to an ancient archival TV show. So anyway, I always do, whenever I'm trying to get into Max again for a Max line, I'll do this from Doc, Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future. I'll go, Marty! If I do a quick Marty, then I'm in Max's voice and I can stay, because it's a little bit close to this one and I just don't want to get him confused. Bear, on the other hand, is like painful to do. Literally painful to do. I try to do the absolute lowest possible voice my body can produce for Bear. But it's a real treat because we're going to hear it soon. We're going to hear the recast Jess, and that's Kristen Coppen, Cricket in your video here. We're going to hear the recast Bear, which is Damien Poitier, and of course the recast Taz, Misspent Youth. These are all characters that in a animated show wouldn't be appropriate for a guy like me to play, but in an audiobook you got to do all the voices. So there are voices that I get to do in the audiobook, which is a real treat, that I would not be cast in an actual show. Not for obvious reasons. I wouldn't be cast in a female role at all, but I wouldn't be cast as appropriately in a character of color, not being a person of color myself. So it was a real treat to be part of the casting process, to assign those those roles to other actors. But all of those actors that I just named, they were willing to work with Gary and my feeling that the voices that they chose should pay homage to the characterization decided upon in the audiobook. So that's a real special willingness that those three actors demonstrated, that they would subvert perhaps an instinct that they would have had in order to keep the original voice forefront in their mind. So they're not really doing an impression of me doing the character, but they are voicing that character respectful of the original vision of the character, which is of course done by me, but then approved by you, Gary, because all your major characters, you approved the voices that I selected. So it's a very collaborative effort to get those actors, to get actors willing to do, great enough to do the part, willing to do the part, and willing to do it in a way that was respectful to the original characterization. That's a huge order. And all three of them were the response was absolutely no problem, which I think is a great sign of respect to me and an even greater sign of respect to you. So.
Yeah, and it turned out it turned out fabulous, as you'll see in a moment.
Well, I always have a little bit of a broken heart when I hear Jess done by me, because as far as I'm concerned now, Jess is.
Listen, you're way far better, Jess, and better looking. So I don't know why you cast me in it.
No, you are Jess now to me. It's hard for me to separate when I look at Jess's character art to not hear and see Cristen.
Well, awesome. So thanks, Tom. So feeling that the novels and the audiobooks had begun to...
By the way, those are all the characters marked in the books. Yeah. And when I did Prophecy, I knew the main characters, but when I did Prophecy, I had to review, because there are certain characters beyond, Epps, Jess, Taz, Crash, Bear, Max. Those are obviously the biggies. But there were some that were reprised from the first book, and I didn't remember what I chose. So I had to go back and listen to the first book and make notes on my own choices.
Yeah, well, don't throw that binder out.
Oh, no, I will never. This is cherished to me.
Stingray Power's coming up. So
Stingray Power. I can't wait to find out which voices come back.
Yeah. All right. So, as I was saying, feeling that the novels and the audiobooks have begun to reach an even bigger audience, we conceptualized Stingray as an animated series. And to showcase that idea and introduce the characters for book and audiobook enthusiasts, we created an animatic sizzle reel, which was based on the pirate scene from Stingray You Can't Hide Forever. So an animatic is a series of static camera or static scenes with camera moves and zooms to create the illusion of movement. The characters' mouths don't move while the dialogue is voiced over. And while Tom certainly could have voiced all the characters, we added 3 additional actors who embodied the characters in their own way while still keeping to the mold that Tom created in the audiobooks. And this, of course, resulted in a richer and spicier and more well-rounded and balanced final finished product. An ultimate animated series, if made, would be drawn characters moving about and talking, obviously with their mouths moving in unison with what they are saying. I mean, unlike most of our elected officials. Before we view the premiere of the Sizzle Reel, I'd like to introduce the rest of the cast. Sorry, because I know Damien Poitier and Misspent Youth both had some conflicts. Damien was going to try to pop in more towards the Q&A, so we'll come back to him for that. But we do have Cristen, and she voiced Commander Jesse Smythe. And Cristen, if you kindly introduce yourself and a little bit about you. And
yeah, hi, I am Cristen Coppen, and I had so much fun working on this with you guys. Weirdly enough, I've done more voiceover as dudes because I think I have such a deep voice, and like 75, 80-year-old women. Don't know why. Have no idea. I played an African-American 85-year-old woman in Dr. Dre's TV show. It's bizarre. So this was very fun. And seeing even her photo, I was like, ooh, she's so sexy. It's like so great. I love it. But also very fierce and tough. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, and I've been an actor for 22 years. I've done a lot of horror films. I was just recently on the season of Shameless. I've done a lot of independents, a lot of comedies. I'm now moving back to Florida. It's where I am now with my family, getting out of LA for a little bit because I can still do, it's what's so great about the work we do. We can do it anywhere and always fly back when we need to. Right. That's about it. I'm single. You're welcome. Exciting. It's very exciting for me. And
self, move to Florida.
that's it. Yeah. You should see the dating pool here. It's a real gem.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, you're lucky if some of them have their teeth. I'm just kidding. But that's about it with me. Still doing my acting, and I also am an entrepreneur. I've got like 4 businesses, so I keep busy.
Well, cool. Yep,
She'll
that's
be
where
on-
I'm here in Jacksonville, Florida, too.
She'll be on the comedy CD Tom Antonellis Geek Reference coming out in 2021.
Oh, cool.
They're good.
Well, thanks. And actually, Cristen, you added, you're talking about your deep voice. You actually added a grittiness to Jess that I did try to convey in the novel. So I think that, that was probably what attracted me to your voice for that.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah. No, she definitely has that. I mean, just seeing from your photo and reading the stuff, and also Tom being awesome, directing me toward with it is definitely sounded more that she needed a little bit of that gritty, tough leather feel to it.
Yep. Well, good. So rounding out the rest of Damien Poitier, as Tom had said earlier, he voiced Bear, and I don't think he's on. And then Misspent Youth, she voiced Tamsin Alexandria Zubray, the ship's doctor. And on that note, if one of our fans reminds me during the Q&A, there's a real life backstory to that name. And oh, did I say swag?
Is there swag?
It could be.
Ooh.
So, voicing Captain Reginald Epsilon, the pilot Jimmy Crash Zubray, Engineer Max, the pirate captain, and Admiral Roth was, of course, Tom Antonellis.
Oh, yeah, it's Admiral Roth. I forgot about him.
Yeah.
We don't see him, but we hear him.
Yes.
Yes.
Manuel Silva is who drew the graphics featured in the reel, and unfortunately his schedule also prevented him from joining us today. Todd Bouvet from the band, it's a tongue twister, from the band Bad Marriage, provided the opening and closing score. Tom, Damien, Cristen, Misspent Youth, Manuel, and Todd all have social media accounts where you can follow them and their work. You can visit stingrayseries.com. I have all their links posted up there. Did I say wrong? Did I swap them around?
What?
Oh, you're just mimicking. I thought maybe you were correcting me because
Oh, no.
I'm a little dyslexic and I do switch things around every so often.
No. I was just putting the names of the people in the chat.
All right, so without further ado, I will bring you the world premiere of the Sizzle reel for Stingray the Animated Series. Where did I put it? We have I do have it, don't I?
Hi, Rita. Oh, I'm glad you're here. Rita is on Facebook. Just in time to see our Sizzle reel.
Hang on. For some reason, Zoom is not recognizing. Let me just share the screen and bring it up that way. Okay.
Cool.
Here we go. Tom, you see a blank screen, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Need to turn it up.
What's that?
You'll need to turn it up.
Okay.
And that, my friends, is the story of how Epps and Jess came to be. She was his XO right up until the alliance fell. It had to be one of the hardest moves for Epps to walk away from us without a word, but it should have been the safest move for everyone involved.
Except Look how it turned out for the lieutenant's family.
Yeah. There has to be an override. Crash here.
Pop off the door sensor's plate. Inside the bottom is a release hatch to a long, slim panel below. Open that panel, pull down on the handle. That will manually release the door and you can pry it open.
Copy that. All right. Okay. Captain, glad to see you're okay. Yes, a very speedy recovery. Most men wouldn't have survived it.
Well, it appears that the rumors about Dr. Stingray are indeed true. She's one hell of a doctor.
Damn right.
I, for one, don't care how you recovered. It's that you recovered. I shouldn't have left you.
Quit killing yourself over this. I gave you an order, you followed it, and it all worked out in the end. Now, on to the business at hand. Where's Jess?
On the bridge, Captain.
Comms in the mess, sick bay, engine room, and the bridge all have manual generators. Turn the handle a few times fast, and it generates enough energy to run it for a few minutes. Eps to bridge.
Bridge, Jess here.
Sit rep.
All systems down, Captain, including life support. Backup power's down too. We're running on emergency batteries and we're adrift. The alarm board is showing a fire in the engine room. A couple small fires broke out here, but I managed to put them out. Though it's a bit smoky right now.
Okay, Max, Bear, Crash, engine room. Get the fire out, get the offline APU up and running, and figure out what the hell just happened.
Aye.
APU?
Yeah, auxiliary power unit. Let's go, Taz. You're with me. Jess doesn't have a lot of time on the bridge before the air runs out.
We can just open the door like we did in the mess, right?
Not that easy. It's a blast door. Very heavy and can only be opened from the inside. Jess, can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you see any other ships or other obstructions out the windows?
negative.
Taz, head back down to the mess. Look out the rear window carefully and check for anything coming at us.
On it.
Yes, you are going to run out of air. We need to get the bridge's auxiliary life support unit online.
Oh, the captain is not going to be happy. Okay, Bear. The auxiliary power unit is over there. See the main cable looped above it? Plug one end into it and the other end into the receptacle marked APU on the main power grid over there.
Got it.
Crash, yeah, help me yank these cables out. All right, I'll have to manually patch them together later. More?
Yes.
I thought I saw something moving in the distance, but it could have been the Stars playing tricks on me.
If I were a betting man, my money would be on that you saw something. Which side of the ship?
Basically from behind, maybe a little off to the left.
Jess, have you found the ALU under the back console? Jess?
She's suffering from dyspnea, Captain.
No,
What?
I was trying.
She isn't getting enough oxygen and it's starting to affect her brain. She has slurred speech and isn't making sense. There's no way you can talk her through anything. If we don't get to her soon, she will have permanent brain damage. What about a laser cutter on the door?
It would take hours to cut through this door. Damn it. Yes. Way to go, Max. Taz, prep sick bay.
On it.
I'm going to carry Jess there.
All right, Jess, you're going to be just fine. Just relax. I
Captain,
got you.
how is she?
Crash, get to the helm. I need to know what's out there.
On it.
Hold still. Not so fast.
I need to get to the bridge. I thought I saw movement out of the front window right before I blacked out.
Captain, to the bridge.
What the hell just happened?
Contact. Bogies all around us. I count 6 unidentified vessels surrounding us. Shields up 100%. Targeting system still offline.
Max, sit rep.
Situation report, Max. What's your status?
Some sort of concentrated proton beam hit us and took out our #1 power control unit.
I can give you life support, shields, and maneuvering thrusters off the APU.
I need the main up. I can't outrun them on maneuvering thrusters.
I should have main power back in 10 minutes.
You should have sublight in 15 and wave in 20.
Captain, lead ship is deploying their forward cannon and locking onto us. We're being hailed.
On visual.
You've got to be kidding me.
The infamous Captain Epsilon. So, the rumors be true. You do be having Stingray. Well, sir, you have me at a disadvantage. And you are? That, Captain, is irrelevant. What is relevant is that I will take Stingray now. Give her up without a fight, and I guarantee you and your crew no harm. I will even drop you off at the nearest populated planet. Now, that is most generous of you, sir, especially coming from a pirate. Think it to be too much? A little over the top. A counter proposal. You and your band of merry men leave, and I won't blow each and every one of your ships from here to Kingdom Come. Captain. Obviously, Captain, you don't know what kind of weapon I have trained on you. Oh, I know exactly what it is. It's a Tracor Arms ion cannon outlawed at the Salada Treaty decades ago. Ah, well, then you know what it'd be capable of doing, and no shielding can stop the highly charged and concentrated beam. Yep. So, then ye will be giving up Stingray without a fight. No. Lieutenant, target the lead vessel.
Targeting vessel, aye, Captain. Sir, you do realize we don't have targeting and weapons at the moment.
Yeah, but they don't know that.
Captain, the ion cannon can penetrate the shields.
Epps, the human body cannot survive such a high exposure to the ion radiation.
We're opening vaporized, Captain.
There you go.
Ion cannon powering up, Captain. They're firing. Pirate vessels stopped firing. Shields holding at 99%.
Damage control showing all systems nominal. No damage. Stingray.
And it appears we are still alive, Captain.
Of course we're alive.
But how?
Captain, pirate vessels are drifting, and I'm no longer picking up life signs aboard any of the vessels. The ion beam must have disrupted our sensors.
Maneuvering to avoid a collision.
Max, can you hack into their internal comm?
On it. On visual now.
Zoom out.
Oh,
The hell?
oh, suffering second.
Okay.
Max, when can I have my weapons?
Right now, Captain.
Lieutenant, target the ion cannon and destroy it and her ship.
Aye, Captain. Targeting acquired and firing.
Scan the other vessels. Any other ion cannons?
Scanning. Negative. That was the only one.
Max, engines.
All systems are online. You have full sublight wave drive will be available shortly.
I expect you will rectify this situation so that it can't happen again.
Oh, Captain, rectify it I shall. But how did you know the ion beam would be absorbed by the shields?
Actually, it didn't absorb it. It reflected the energy back out, like a mirror, but with an added twist. The shields couldn't absorb this type of energy, so it dispersed it along the entire surface area of the shields and then reflected it outward in all directions. Since the pirate ship's shields couldn't deflect the ion beam, well, you saw the results. But I read the manual. Hey, I had a lot of time on my hands, okay?
Oh, you kill me. You should have realized that.
I'll say.
Crash, resume our course.
Aye, Captain.
Crash and I will hold down the bridge. The rest of you, get some rest.
What the hell is going on there, Smythe? You broke out a prisoner from Taurus 9? Several guards dead?
He's assembling a crew. In order to get Jimmy's Dubray, Crash, he had to agree to break out his sister Tamsin from Taurus 9.
What is he up to, Smythe?
I don't know. He had me execute a secure program. I'm not sure where we're going, and we just ran into pirates. I almost have him convinced to give Stingray back. I just think he's putting his affairs in order.
Look, Smythe, if you want to see your sister alive...
Don't threaten me, Ralph. I'm keeping my end of the bargain. You better keep yours. Have to go.
So, buddy, you relieved to have your sister back?
Yes, very relieved. Thanks, Epps. So, what about you and Jess? Huh?
What about her?
No, not what about her. What about you, too? You look glad to have her back.
What the hell is that? There, sit rep.
There.
Oh,
Jess?
I call this traitor giving us up to Roth. This isn't about giving our sister back. It's about giving you, us, and this ship to the conglomerate.
There, stand down.
Captain.
There.
Captain, she's been giving Roth a running narration of our mission and position.
There, stand down. I appreciate your diligence, Bear. I ordered Jess to give updates to Roth, feeding him misinformation. My hope was to keep Maggie alive by making Roth think Stingray was still within his grasp.
You should have let us know.
I don't have to explain my every move. You have a problem with that? There's the door. Dude, take it easy. We're all cool here.
It's fine, Captain.
All right, let's all just, get back to our posts.
Why did you cover for me?
I would have done the same thing you did.
How do you know I'm not a traitor?
I just know.
She's dead, isn't she?
Probably.
It's my fault.
No.
It's my fault.
If it's anyone's fault, it's mine. It's me and Stingray thereafter. You and your family were collateral damage. We're going to bring her back, and we're going to make those responsible for this pay. You have my word on that. Tholian Web.
All right. Stop sharing that. Wow. That gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. Yeah. So that was our sizzle reel.
Way to go, Gary.
Yay. And yes, that was Tom's voice doing the Tholian Web.
Tholian Web. That's my promo voice. First of all, thank you to Rob Asher, who says, I love the golden age of sci-fi feel to this. It's a very nice
Cool.
compliment.
Thanks, Rob.
Agreed.
Wow, so I guess what we'll do now is I don't know, was Damien or Misspent Youth able to join? I don't see them.
I don't think so.
Okay. So the next part of this was we've got about 15 minutes left for our call. Some Q&A with Tom, myself, and Cristen. One thing that I did see. Oh, I will give you a little, not so much a spoiler for Power, but at the end of that scene where Jess said she was responsible for Maggie's death, and Epsilon says, no, I'm responsible. We're gonna find that out in Power.
Ooh.
So it's a little extra tidbit there. For those of you that are on Facebook Live, if you want to jump over to the Zoom call and actually ask some questions, go to stingrayseries.com and click on the Join Zoom button.
And if you have trouble with it, you can type in a question as well.
Yeah. So without further ado, I think we'll do that. We'll go ahead and start that. So I'll kick off the first question to kind of break the ice. And this is for both Cristen and for Tom. Do you watch the productions that you were acting in? And if so, how does it feel sitting in the theater or at home watching yourself on the screen or listening to yourself on the screen, as the case might be?
Well, Kristen's done a lot more on-camera work than I, so I'll probably let her answer that one first. If you want to come back to us, Cristen, click back on.
No, yes, for sure.
No worries.
I don't normally watch myself ever. Like, it's very rare, unless it just happens to come on. Like, I've been on like a commercial where I've been on the airplane before, and I'm sitting next to the people and I'm like, oh my God. And it's me and I'm like looking at them and I'm looking back at it. I'm like, this is so awkward. This is so weird. I'm so uncomfortable. But it is, I definitely don't watch myself. Definitely don't watch myself, which is terrible. I don't know if it's just like the terror, like the fear of being let down or seeing myself in something else. I don't know. It's very rare if I ever see myself in something.
I think it's your greatness, because I think Johnny Depp feels the same way, and he doesn't want to watch anything he does.
I got to work with him too. And
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I produced something that he was in, and we acted in together. Lovely man, very odd, very, very odd man.
Yes.
But nice, but odd. and just did different take after different take. Never was the same.
Wow. Yeah. One of the last things I was on that was an on-camera gig was The Kids Are All Right. It's a sitcom on ABC. It was unfortunately since been canceled. But in that piece, I was brought in as a dancer and actor. So I did some I'm kind of known for playing douches, so particularly in the comedy realm. In fact, one of the pieces that I do with Cristen is very douche-esque on the next album.
Yes, it is.
But
very funny.
So very funny. So much, and it's based. That the particular piece with Cristen is based on how we actually met. We actually met at jury duty, and the piece is designed to take that meeting and kind of exaggerate it up. So we play exaggerated versions of ourselves. But yeah, so on The Kids Are All Right, I played a douche, and it was very exciting to work with that team. That's me getting ready for my next, that's an alarm saying I got to pop to my next Zoom soon. But yeah, that is something I watched. When I was on set that day, I kind of felt like I channeled a little John Ritter in the performance, and I was very proud of it. And so I really wanted to see that one, so I watched it. The other one that I think was the most exciting to see was the very first time I appeared in credits. So I did not start as an actor. I started as an editor. And I worked on The Spanish Prisoner, which was a David Mamet film. And that's the first movie that my name appears in the credits. So we all went to a theater in Massachusetts, and we all cheered. We went nuts when my name went by. And but short of that, yeah, I'm kind of like Cristen. I generally don't watch it. I probably watch it once to see how they handled the footage getting to the final product, but I don't make a habit of watching my stuff. Listening to my stuff, absolutely. I can't tell you how many times I've massaged the audio on the piece that Cristen and I did, 2 pieces actually. And it's just so much fun. I love voiceover. I really feel I found my niche there. So listening to that, listening to my podcast with my sister, Back Through the Basement, I could listen to that all day long. So I definitely have a far easier time listening to myself than watching myself.
Oh, cool. Well, I'd like to open it up. Anybody on the call or even on Facebook Live want to ask a question of us? Doesn't have to be Stingray related. Obviously, it can be anything. Let's just keep religion and politics out. But other than that,
Gary, this is Paula.
Hey, Paula.
So first of all, I just wanted to comment that I am just a huge Shameless fan. So when Cristen said she was at a part of that show, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to have to scope that one out.
Yep.
And then for the reading for that last piece that you did, and I admit I have not read either book yet. I have them; they're on my bedstand. But and my husband's in the other room watching Star Trek repeats. I definitely could hear a Dr. Spock once in a while coming out of your reading. So that was really interesting. Great job, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. So first of all, Cristen was awesome on Shameless. I agree. And she may not have watched it, but I watched it because she's awesome. So I don't know if you want to pop in, Kristen, tell any
That's
shame.
that's very sweet of you. Yeah, I played Greta. I got to have an affair with William H. Macy, which was a delightful treat. I was told that I was coming back because they were getting rid of one of the PTA moms, but I think everything kind of took a different turn when Emma left the show, so they kind of did some rewriting, but it was so much fun, and the most loveliest man. We had the best time. I don't know if you can say that with sex scenes. It's very odd, but also had a great time.
Yeah, William H. Macy's a tremendous actor, and my sister Julie does, I think she does an impression of him from Fargo. And, but yeah, he also has a long-standing relationship with David Mamet. So while I didn't get to meet him on Spanish Prisoner, because he was in a different film of Mamet's, I met a lot of the same team that did, I want to say it's Oleana that they did together, William H. Macy and David Mamet. So if you're a Shameless fan, you're probably a William H. Macy fan, Paula, and I would highly recommend checking out, yeah, I'm going to just check real quick on IMDb, but I think it's called Oleana.
Oleana, okay, I will.
Quick for you. Good question. Oh, and thank you for the observation about Spot.
Yeah, and I am from Minnesota, so you know that kind of draws me to the William Macy movies.
Oh yeah, definitely. You betcha, yeah.
Yeah, you sure, but for sure.
Let's see. Yeah, Oleana. Oleanna. But yeah, there's a tremendous Star Trek for your husband, Paula, a tremendous Star Trek. There are a few actually, fan fiction audio series podcasts. I'm on Star Trek Shadows of Tyranny as the voice of Scotty. And I'm on Star Trek Lost Frontier in a few episodes, and I'm in Starship Excelsior in an episode, and I believe they're going to be bringing my character back. So those are some pretty fun little Star Trek rabbit holes if you want to tumble down those.
Oh, great, thanks.
The actor who does Spock on Shadows of Tyranny is ridiculously spot on to Leonard Nimoy. I've never heard anybody do the job better.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think it's Star Trek Shadows of Tyranny.com.
Well, the Google will tell you what it is.
Yeah, totally.
Anybody have any other questions they'd like to pose? You'll probably have time for one more.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. Quick question. I know you talked about the most challenging character and how you kind of have to clear your voice and everything, and back to those days. Favorite character books, though?
I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit there. Did you say, do I have a favorite character in the books?
Yeah. Who was your favorite character doing all the voice narration? Who was your favorite? I know some might have been more challenging, but who was your favorite one to do?
Got it. Cool. By the way, it is shadowsoftyranny.com, and the actor is Michael J. Pollock that does Spock. I would say that Epps is my favorite to voice. Popping down into that voice is it's a really comfortable little place to go with vocally. So I think, and plus he always has some incredible, emotional journeys. Again, I got to clear it if I want to talk normally. So I think he's probably the most satisfying to voice both vocally and as an actor. There's a piece, you'll have to help me try and remember a chapter. I think it's in You Can't Hide Forever. I think it's the first book, but it's at a funeral.
Yep.
Didn't I cry as one character?
Yeah.
Who did I cry as?
When you did the minister, I think.
Right. Anyway, there was one incredible passage. Gary just wrote a tremendous funerary scene, and voicing it was a privilege. I hit save that day at the end of that session, and I was like, that's some of the best acting I've ever done, period. You know, it wasn't with anybody. Nobody saw me do it. People will hear me do it, but nobody saw me do it. Nobody would necessarily know it was me. I don't even remember the character. It just, in other words, the voice. I don't remember what voice I chose. Again, I have records, and I don't think that character is coming back in the third book, but I have to go back and listen to everything to determine, to keep my own continuity. But yeah, I finished that day's recording, and I said, I've just done some of my best work, and I was alone in this room. So thank you for asking, Stefano. I hope that answers the question. It's a toss up between those real incredible moments that you get to play thanks to Gary's writing, and then the just vocally satisfying voice of going here is just, I could do this all day.
It's amazing, and congratulations. I know you talked earlier about beating out basically 59 other people for the role, and I mean, it's amazing to actually listen to now, and congratulations on. I think you did an amazing job.
Oh, thank you so much. Actually, I don't know how many voices I beat out. It's 60 voices that I voiced in the book. So 60 distinctly different characters that I voiced in the book. But Gary was saying that I did beat out a certain number of people for the.
Yeah, there were about a half a dozen.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember this. There was a commercial on television from Visine, the eye drops, and the Visine guy. And
yeah.
It starts off black and white, very monotonous. You will not believe that. That's versions of that. It's just amazing. Even
I think that was Ben Stein from.
I mean, he did a great job. Don't get me wrong. For the commercial.
Well, he's known for his monotone because I think that's Ben Stein, the teacher from Ferris Bueller. So I think the point was to be monotone. But if you were getting a bunch of monotonous, an audiobook narrator cannot be monotonous. That's for sure.
No, they can't. Well, it is the top of the hour, and I don't want to keep you guys from your next gigs. And I appreciate you, Cristen and Tom, for popping in. And
of course, no problem.
Doing it, and apologize for the technical difficulties we had last month trying to get this together. And everybody else who joined, thank you. Again, stingrayseries.com has everybody's social media links, and make some new followers and follow some new people. Thanks, and have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. It was a treat.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye, Cristen.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody on Facebook. Thank you for your comments.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Tom.